since the UN was formed, so many more countries have come to independence. And so is it a problem of just an outdated organization that needs modernization and updating? Or if we're to get rid of the UN, who's going to deal with all these cross-boundary problems that we have other than war?
If I could just jump in on that. I mean, there are lots of different forms of coordination. There's a kind of horizontal coordination. One method used in, indeed, drugs and other kinds of crimes is to have a treaty body in which, or treaty framework in which nation states are required to create a category of crime and to repress it. And you're not running all the operations through the eye of a single needle. You're simply recognizing a mutual obligation to take precautionary action against a problem of the commons. So it doesn't have to be run from New York in the sense that you have a czar who's telling nation states exactly what to do. They can undertake mutual promises to each other without necessarily having it be czarred by a particular person. I mean, I do think having someone like Peter Piot in HIV/AIDS is hugely important to persuade heads of state that they ought to admit that they have a sex trade problem and that they have a high degree of incidence, and it's not a shame, it's an opportunity to help people. And that kind of bully pulpiting can be very useful. Where I think the UN often gets into trouble often is in the kind of random shots, and this is closer to home, forgive me, it takes in various crises. I'm just amazed. One of the interesting features of learning how the 38th floor works is that statements aren't vetted. So you'll have different characterizations of who did what to whom in the Middle East, coming from different actors who are out on holiday at various conferences around the world. Is it an unlawful occupation or just an occupation? And those kinds of freighted words, which are not the problem with the commons, these are particular security crises, are often alienate communities in the most profound ways in an untutored, unstudied, random kind of drive-by shootings with words that I think the UN needs to get much more clearly under control. There needs to be a process on the 38th floor which understands that words also are weapons, and that I think would conserve the political capital and prestige of the Secretary General in a much more useful way.